mate. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another episode of Tech Q&A. I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win always and forever. We are always moving forward, always working towards growth, productivity, and winning. All right. Let me do some quick maintenance real quick. All right, we are good to go. So this, like I said, this is Tech Q&A, and I am going to answer your questions, whether it's in the chat, whether you want to call in and have a live discussion with me. The link will be in the chat throughout the show. It's also pinned throughout the it's also pinned to the chat as well as in the description. So feel free to hit the link, join the conversation, ask me any questions that you have about tech. You do not have to be on camera. You can if you want, but it is not a requirement. I just want to have a conversation with you. So that's what it is. You can tune in, you can call in, you can ask questions in the chat, and then I'll be going through the questions that I have sourced as well. Whatever it is, I am here to support you. Okay. So okay, that's much better. And let's go here. All right, cool. Good mic levels all around. Okay. Before we go any further, though, I need to. It's not that I want to. I need to go through our agenda. Got to stay organized. So let's jump right into our agenda. So first and foremost, as always, I want to say thank you to all of the latest subscribers.
I appreciate you.
You guys are amazing. I've been having people reach out to me, been collaborating, been helping people with their resumes, with their strategies and stuff like that. So it is amazing to hear from you and what you're up to see how you are working so hard and so diligently. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to the Tech Barbarians and to all of my Patreon members. It is amazing to see what you're working on. And what I have started in the Patreon is every month. the members are going I mean, they don't have to, but if they want to win, if they want to level up, they're going to comment on what is their plan, what is their project that they plan to accomplish for the upcoming month, and we can review that at the end of the month to make sure that we are meeting our goals. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Maybe I'll do some type of live stream or something for that for an exclusive for the Patreon members. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the interest is on that, right? But that is what always looking to add value to those who support me and who want to win. All right. So shout out to the Tech Barbarians and all of my Patreon members. All right. If you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share the video, interact with me in the chat, leave me a comment, anything. Just I want to hear from you. Give me your feedback, your criticism, your questions, whatever it is. I am here and I am open for it all. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. And of course, check out the Patreon for yourself. Level up your technical skills, right? So check out www.techcoachralph.dev and you can see what we have going on over there, how you can get involved, how you can start to win. Let's not delay our victories. Let's not delay the win. Let's go out there and win today. A lot of times we set goals and stuff like that, and then we procrastinate all the way until the last minute, and then we want to rush, and then it's failure, or it's exhaustion. Why don't we start working today, right? Start now, and then you can finish early, and then you can either enjoy the last few days, or you can get a head start on what's next up. I personally like to get a head start, but at least you'll reach your goal. So let's focus on reaching our goals. Like I said last week, the topic was focus. I'm going to talk a little bit more about burnout tonight, and then we will get into our show. Okay. So next up on the agenda, what is our live show schedule? I always like to share this so you guys can be informed and aware and that you can join the fun. So Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. We are focusing on Terraform, and it's going really, really well because it's the more you do it, the more you understand. So I feel like my Terraform knowledge is massively increasing. So that's amazing. All right. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions like tonight, January 9th, 2024, right? Q&A sessions. So that's what we're doing tonight. Tune in. You can call in. You can ask me a question in the chat. Whatever it is that you want. Even if you leave a question in the comment, I'll make sure I will get it addressed in the comment and answer it the following show as well. Okay. And by the way, the plan is a week from tonight, right? Next Tuesday night, that we will be having our cybersecurity Q&A with our good friend Socks, and we will be showing a walkthrough through Socks University, Socks U. He is working diligently to get that ready for you. So that is the plan. And Thursday nights we have more software explorations. If you didn't see it in the beginning of the show when the thumbnails were going by, this coming Thursday, not tomorrow, this coming Thursday, we will be, and I'm going to push it to the limit here, right? Because I haven't done this myself yet, but we're going to be setting up Selenium, which I've done. We're going to be setting up Cypress, which I've done. And we're going to be setting up Playwright, which I've done. However, we are going to be doing it we need a drum roll for this. In TypeScript. I have never used TypeScript yet, but I hear some amazing things about it. And I said, well, if all three of these automation tools work in TypeScript, why not dive into it and see what we can do? We'll follow some TypeScript guides. We'll follow some Selenium setup for TypeScript, for via Node. We'll follow for Cypress, and in the same exact project, we're gonna have 3 automation tools that we can write our code side by side, and we can go from there, right? I'm still looking for an application that we're going to write our test on, so I'm working on that. We shall see when the time is right. Okay, so that is what we're going to be doing this coming Thursday. So you definitely want to tune in. It's already scheduled, so you definitely want to hit the notification button so you can be notified when I go live on Thursday, because it is going to be tons and tons of fun, and it's going to be a multi-part series, but you are definitely going to enjoy it. So I definitely look forward to that. I definitely look forward to seeing you there. Okay, so that's this coming Thursday. And then we have our morning show, Coffee and Kata, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m., where we review some news stories. We have our coffee, we review some news stories, and we jump into coding challenges, usually from Chaos Camp. But on Fridays, we will be using Code Wars to do our coding challenges. We did our first one, my very first Code Wars coding challenge last Friday, and it went very, very well. We did solve it. That was fun. Okay. Yeah. So, and then what we've been doing in the morning, we're doing the OpenAI API testing challenge from Chaos Camp. And what I decided to do on the fly, I think it was like last week when we first started it, I said, let's use Behave, like BDD, and Behave is the library that's used for BDD with Python. You do it with Cucumber in Java and maybe some other languages, but definitely in Java you'd use Cucumber. So we're kind of like going, like having a learning session on how to use Behave while we use that to test to do the Chaos Camp OpenAI API testing challenge, right? So we have a couple of moving pieces, but guess what? These real life scenarios and these real life tools, because I use Behave every day at work, right? So you get that exposure to it, and we can have some fun with that. We can have some fun, and we can stimulate our minds early in the morning, so we can have a very, very productive day. All right. So that is our live show. Let me just run through it real quick one more time. Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. We are focusing on Terraform. Tuesday nights, we have Q&A sessions. Thursday nights, we have more software explorations. We are going to be doing Cypress, Selenium, and Playwright in TypeScript this coming Thursday, so definitely tune in for that. And then we have our morning show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Coffee and Kata, where we review news articles, we have some coffee, and we do coding challenges. All right. So shout out to the live shows. Now, let's jump into our pre-recorded content. All right. So on Mondays, we have Candid Conversations. I released a video yesterday talking about how you can use Burnout to your advantage. And I have so much to say about it, but I don't even know how to share like the impact that why I am the way that I am. But that is our Mondays Candid Conversations. This one about burnout, very, very good stuff. Wednesdays, we have software explorations, concepts, and overviews. We're going to have part 2 tomorrow. I just have to schedule it, but the video's already rendered. Thumbnails should be created already. Yeah, thumbnails already created. I just need to schedule it after the show. So we'll be having part 2 saying which automation tool should you be learning in 2024? Is it Cypress? Is it Selenium? Is it Playwright? I had a poll on the channel in the community tab, and most people voted for. Did they vote for Selenium or did they vote for Cypress? I know nobody voted for Playwright, which was slightly disappointing to me. But people love Selenium and Cypress. All right, so we shall see. So that's part 2 coming out tomorrow. Part 3 next week, and like I said, we are going to be live streaming, setting up all 3 of them side by side, going through the same exact website. Okay. And then Fridays, we have the Bug Bite. That is a fun show. serious topics, but we have a little bit of fun with it. The Tesla humanoid, not humanoid, but the bug bite from last week about did a Tesla robot actually beat up an engineer? That one was a fun one. Some people they take this stuff way too seriously, but it is what it is. All right, and then we have throughout the week we might have some shorts. We definitely have a clip from the Q&A show that comes out Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So in case you can't sit through this whole entire show, because you have to study or you have to work or whatever it is that you have to do, you might not be able to sit through the whole thing. But I clip it up so you can get exactly what you need when you need it. So check that out. So one more time, let's run through our pre-recorded content one more time. Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. Fridays, the Bug Bites, and throughout the week we have additional content that'll be dropping. Especially we have the clips from the Q&A show in bite-sized, digestible pieces. All right, now I would like to remind you to go check out the Chaos Camp GitHub, right? So you can see the different challenges that our good friend Don has created for you to help you level up your testing skills, right? Different scenarios, different ways to test. And we want you to fork a repo and handle the challenge and then submit it to us for code review so that we can give you some feedback and you can get better at testing and QA and stuff like that. Between Don and I, we probably have about 35 years in QA testing experience, and he is so knowledgeable. So if he spent the time to create these challenges for you, and you want to be in QA or you want to become a better QA, then I highly recommend that you go check out the GitHub and start on a challenge today. Why don't you start it now? While you're listening to the show, start on a Chaos Camp challenge, all right? So that would be my recommendation to you. And I am just going to, although it'll be circulating throughout the chat, I'm just going to drop it in the chat. It's also in the description as well, all right? But I'm going to drop it in the chat because you need to get to work, all right? So let me just drop it in the chat really, really quickly. And there you have it, all right? So go ahead and click on that link. All right, next. Check out my good friend Sox's breakdown of his roadmap that he created to getting into cybersecurity. There'll most likely be more on that, but here's the video he created maybe last month or 2 months ago, right? I like, especially coming up as cybersecurity week, and so many people like they want to get into cybersecurity, but they just don't know where to go. So this is a great roadmap, and then we have Sox U coming out next. It should be coming out next week. Yeah, it should be ready next week. So definitely check that out and subscribe to Sox's channel as well so that you can stay informed with his latest content. All right. So now the next thing that I want to talk to you about, right? So we're done with that. That is, those are the announcements, right? So I released the video yesterday. So let's just do, I don't know if I have a, let's see what we have here. Let's do that. All right. So yes, let's talk about burnout. So yeah, I released a video yesterday talking about burnout, knowing that it probably goes against and a counter to what so many people say. Oh, you need to take a break, you need to slow down, and all this type of stuff, right? And my message was, you just got to keep pushing. You take a break when you have no more to give, right? And the reason is the reason is I think that we we think that we work a lot harder than we actually do, right? Um and here's an observation that I made this past week, right? Everybody wants, like, Shannon Sharp interviewed Cat Williams, and the video right now is probably at 30, 34, 35 million views, maybe. Last time I checked was at like around 33. Maybe it's still at 30. Let me just take a quick look, right? I want to see. Let's see. Let's see. It is at 39 million views. Jesus Christ, right? 30 million. So I was off, right? It's at 39 million views. Okay. And my thinking behind it is, for the 39 million people who have watched it, how did it benefit your life? What growth did it bring to your life? Right? At the same time, Andrew Huberman interviewed David Goggins, one of my favorite people to watch and to listen to, right? And that video, like, it didn't do small numbers on its own right, but it's at 3 million views. And the title of that is How to Build Immense Inner Strength, right? So how many times did, and to add on top of the 39 million people who watched the Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp interview, right? Thousands of content creators went to review it and stuff like that, because, hey, it's going to get you the views, because if it got that many views on Shannon Sharp, maybe you can get some views for yourself on talking about it. And, so much time and energy, because the people who watched the interview, they also watched the people who were reviewing it and giving their commentary and stuff like that on things that absolutely have no impact on your life whatsoever, right? So going back to the David Goggins interview with Andrew Huberman, how to build immense inner strength. That is the topic of that was the title of the show, the interview, right? And I've probably listened to that. It was released 8 days ago, right? So probably about on New Year's, right? On New Year's Day. And like I said, that video has 3 million views. And I have listened to that show, that podcast, that video, whatever you want to call it, right? Maybe about 6 to 10 times already. Sometimes I'll get to the end of that, like once it's over, and I just start it right back over again. And every single time I listen to it, I hear something differently. And it helps, it gives me, it's not motivation, it's not inspiration. It's, I'd say, determination. And helps me understand, a lot of the reasons that I do the things that I do, and that I move the way that I move, and why, and just why. Like, it just helps me understand my mind a lot better, right? Because I do a lot of things, but sometimes you don't understand, like, why you do it. And just listening to that podcast, I'm like, oh, I'm not crazy. And, I'm just moving in the direction of where I want to be, running away from the things that I don't want to ever go back to or be anywhere near. All right. So that's why I say that I embrace burnout and I'm just running, kind of like Forrest Gump. He got it. He just kept running and running and running. And I'm just running away from the things that are not great who are constantly chasing me. And, I'll talk about this more later on another day. And I'm running towards all the things that I want to be in, that I want to accomplish, So that is part of my views on burnout and why I say you should embrace it and you should keep moving forward, never looking back. Because once you start looking back, remember, the lady, Sodom and Gomorrah, when she was, God said, don't look back. And she looked back and she turned to a pillar of salt. I just want to keep going. I just want to run. I just want to keep going. All right. So that is that. All right. So let's get back to it. Before we get into our questions portion, I would like to say, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video, drop me a line in the chat, and drop me a comment on the video if you are watching this afterwards, right? If you're watching it on replay, definitely drop me a line and check out the Patreon so you can level up your technical skills at www.techcoachralph.dev. What I'm also going to be doing in the Patreon is, as we develop new applications, tools, software, whether it's me and Don or whether it's the Tech Barbarians, I am going to be having it releasing it to, so one, creating software specific for the Patreon members so that it can help them level up, but two, some other software, we'll have the beta release to them so they can start looking at it and giving feedback and before we release it to a more general public. All right. So shout out to the Tech Barbarian, shout out to the Patreon members. I
appreciate you.
I sure do. All right. So that's it for our agenda. Let's jump into our show. But you know what? Before I jump into the show, I forgot to get my water, right? So give me a second to jump over and get my bottle of water and we will jump into our questions. All right. So just give me one split second to get a bottle. Not that type of bottle, all right? Just bear with me, all right? So luckily, the case of water is right on the other side of the door. So it was very, very quick. Okay, so we are going to get started with our questions. Let me get our timer up. And like I said, if you want to call in, the link is pinned to the chat, to the top of the chat, as well as in the description. So feel free to click that link and we can have a discussion, okay? So let me do 5. All right, we have our 5 minutes on the clock. Let me pull up our questions. And let's get to it.
Another one.
Our very first question of the night says, I need guidance on how to gain some experience as a software tester. I'm I am currently in Norway and struggling to find a job as a software tester. My background is from banking industry in India, but I passed not one, but two ISTQB certifications and started applying for jobs and internships. Please give me some advice on how I can learn testing and how to get a job. So, isn't it interesting that this person not only one ISTQB certification, but two, but they're asking for advice on how they can learn testing. So, like I always say to you guys, right? I'm gonna start a timer, right? The ISTQB is supplemental. It doesn't teach you testing, right? It just shows that you're a good test taker. You can pass the test. It's useful if you are like in a government job or a government contracting job, because they like to have these certifications on file, because I mean they don't know about testing themselves. So it's like, oh, this person was able to pass a test. But gaining practical experience while testing, right? So I'll give you guys some advice on what you can do. I don't know how it is in Norway or in India and stuff like that, but what I would say is I would ask businesses, like it's pretty much creating an internship for yourself, which I do plan on making a video for this, right? It's pretty much creating an internship for yourself where you are going to seek out businesses, someone who has like startups and stuff like that, and say, hey, I want to test your application, test your website and stuff like that, doing work on a real application, a real website, instead of some, like I tell you that go choose a popular website and write some test cases for it, write some automation for it and stuff like that, write up some defects and stuff. But the thing is, you don't work for the company, right? You're not going through the agile methodology. You're not using Jira and stuff like that. Those are the tools that you need that you need to learn, that you're going to be using on the job. Because if you're not graduating from college and you don't have any work experience, I don't want to have to train you on the basics of what you should already know, right? Like, and that's how when you're transitioning from one field to another, you want to gain experience, right? It shouldn't be the responsibility of the job to train you or to take a chance on you. I was looking at a question, which I might be touching it on this one today, but I responded to the person that nobody owes you anything. All right. So if you want to gain experience, right? Because you started applying for jobs and internships and you can't find anything. I don't know how it is in Norway, but to me, internships are normally reserved for college students and stuff like that, right? That's what it means to have an entry level job. Like, you're coming out of college and you need to get into the workforce, and even that is not guaranteed. That's very hard, because guess what? When you have thousands of people going to college and graduating, and then all of them are there's like it's like a boot camp. Like, college ends up being like a boot camp, right? It's like the accredited boot camp, to be honest with you, right? But all these people go to college, and then they all going for the same jobs and stuff like that, just like it is in the boot camps. And now, the thing with college is that you get more access to those internships, and like they'll look to hire college graduates 6 months before they even graduate. So just throwing that out there. So how can you learn testing? You're gonna have to go find some freelance testing stuff, right? And you might have to go on Upwork. Actually, there is a list that somebody shared with me of all these different freelancing websites. that I will share with my Patreon members on how they can, apply for some freelance jobs to get experience. The number one key is to get experience. If you haven't learned testing yet, then you need to go take a course on testing. A certification is not going to teach you testing. You can find it on Udemy. You can find it on Coursera. You can look on YouTube, which it might not be as structured, but you can look somewhere, and how do you get a job? I created I created some videos about creating a QA portfolio. You can check out that playlist, and it'll tell you so pretty much I'm saying use Docker to set up a test case management system, and then we live streamed it, right? We set it up, and then we would log in, create test cases, write defects, do test executions, and that way, once you actually get to the interview, you can describe all the things that you did using Docker, and like dropping those buzzwords so that it's like, okay, this person, not only are they're ambitious, they're also innovative because look at the solution that they came up with, and that they and then you show them like, okay, these are my test cases, these are my show them your critical thinking skills, because QA is all about critical thinking. So that that's a strategy on how to get a job. Is it guaranteed? Nothing is guaranteed, so that's what I could that's the starting point that I would share with you. But if you had one-on-one coaching, we could deep dive into what you need to learn, strategize how to apply for jobs, where to apply for jobs, how to set up your LinkedIn, how to set up your resume. So many, there's so many different reasons why you might not be getting a job. If you're not getting contacted at all, it's probably because your resume sucks. So we had the video about crappy resumes and stuff last year. Check that out. But if you are getting calls and interviews, but you can't get past the first or second step, probably you're a bad interviewer and you need to work on how to properly interview. So many different options that it could be. So just throwing that out there, right? And if anyone is in the same situation, maybe you need to get a coach, a mentor, so that you can get put on the right path. All right. So that is that question. So let's move on to our next question. It says, is software... Oh, wait. Oops. Rewind. All right.
Another one.
Is software testing worth it if you don't have experience in automation testing? All right. So it says, I'm in software testing since 5 years. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to work in automation testing like Selenium or Cypress. And also my coding skills aren't really good. So even if I did get the chance, I'm not sure I'll be able to do well in automation. So most of my experience has been in functional testing, API testing, and some performance testing. I'm aware there's good demand in automation testing, but I'm still trying to stick to the hope. They said the hope that there's still need for manual testing. I'd like to know your opinion on this. I have this thought in my mind that I should switch to something else, probably like HR recruitment or digital marketing. I've been trying to switch jobs, but no luck so far. So let's get at it, right? So is software testing worth it if you don't have experience in automation testing? So I would definitely say that the concepts of software testing, it's definitely worth it. But at this day and age, the demand for manual testers is very low, right? Because the thing is, why would companies they need manual testers, but they also want those manual testers because they're not only manual testers, they are I'll put it like this, right? All QA engineers who do automation also do manual testing. All right. What happens is there's going to be a percentage based on your level of experience of how much automation you do, how much manual. But like you're on a project, and before you can automate anything, you need to test it manually first, right? And through that manual test, you see what you need to automate because you see what's a good candidate for automation, what's not a good candidate for automation. And being that we're working in agile with our sprints, you can like based on the velocity that you're doing, how many testers are on the team, you can or how many engineers on the team, you can get like it's easier to get automation and not fall behind if you properly structure that with your team. All right. So is it worth it if you don't have automation experience? If you're planning on just going into manual testing, like so many people do at these boot camps, they just go into manual testing and then they can't find a job for the life of them. I don't know what to tell you. Like automation is a requirement now. Of course, you might find one or two jobs over there that are still looking for manual testers, but how many people are applying for those? If you have 1,000, and we have way more than that, but 1,000 bootcamp graduates in a year who are all targeting for the same manual testing job, who gets it? Who doesn't? It's gonna be a needle in a haystack. Like you have more chance of winning the lottery than to get that position. And like I said the other day, especially if it's a remote job, you have a better chance of finding Bigfoot riding on a unicorn, right? Than landing a manual testing job. Some people will get it, but for the most part, it's not going to happen. And you need to level up your testing skills. You need to start learning automation. You need to learn agile. You need to learn how to use Jira because that's going to be the most likely tool that you use in the work environment. You need to actually automate something of value. You need to get like on a some type of maybe find like some local businesses that you can offer to test their application. You can offer to test their like write some automated tests for it. And here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. So and this is the problem that I normally have, right? This person says that unfortunately they didn't get the opportunity to work in automation testing like Selenium or Cypress. Selenium and Cypress are both free, right? Who needs to give you the opportunity? I'm on a live stream right now, right? On Thursday we're going to be live streaming. We're going to be using WebStorm. You can do it in VS Code, which is free, to automate through a website that we're going to choose by that time. And I'm using all three free automation frameworks, right? I'm using Cypress. I'm using Selenium. I'm using Playwright. Who's giving me the opportunity? Is it YouTube giving me the opportunity to get into this automation testing tool? Is it the software that I'm using? Is it the laptop that I have? Who is giving me the opportunity? Like, no one has to give you the opportunity to get better. I don't know if that makes sense, right? No one has to, like, a job does not have to put you in a particular position. You can, like, they shouldn't. Like, honestly, they shouldn't. If you want something, you need to go and learn it. Like jobs it's a benefit that a job can like put us in these positions, pay for these courses for us when they do the tuition reimbursement or however they do it. That's a benefit, right? But I don't think they're required to do it. So if you think you didn't get the opportunity, that's totally your fault because you could have went home, you could have spent an extra 2 hours a day, right, to practice learning Selenium or Cypress or Playwright or whatever, right? But you didn't. And now you're saying you didn't get the opportunity. You were in there for 5 years and your coding skills aren't that good. So, like, how do you get them better if you don't work at it, right? So, we shoot ourselves in the foot, right? We shoot ourselves in the foot because we're lazy. We don't want to put in the work. We want it to be handed to us. And then once the I was saying this the other day, right? We want to start to make a change once what we were doing is no longer needed. Instead of staying with the trends and moving forward, and if you saw automation was becoming more prevalent, you should have hopped on the opportunity for it and ride that wave, and then you could probably become like a senior QA engineer, a lead QA engineer. But instead you're unemployed and you don't have the skills to keep up with the industry, right? So then you want to go into HR recruitment or digital marketing. I don't know how prevalent those are. Like you said, you've been trying to switch jobs with no luck. So there's no jobs in there either. Like how many people are actually working in HR? Usually, most companies, the HR department is pretty small, right? And digital marketing, I don't know. So you did it to yourself. All right. So that's I don't know. Right. That's my suggestion. Level up your skills. You've already been doing manual testing for 5 years. Take the time to learn automation, right? And then come back with more skills. All right. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share it with everyone, because there is something here for everyone. And leave interact with me in the chat. You can call in if you have a question, and you can leave me a comment if you're watching this on replay or if you're watching the clip. All right. So let's jump into our very, very next question. So let's see. All right, let's go to the next one.
Another one.
One says, ISTQB exam. Oh, we love the ISTQB, don't we? I want to ask if an ISTQB exam is enough to get an entry-level job. I'm asking because I really can't afford full degree now. I also have some prior experience being a freelance tester. On a side note, I'm looking for some resources to learn. Are Udemy courses worth it? All right, so we'll start with the latter question. All right, let's put our timer up. Udemy courses are definitely worth it. I have learned so much off Udemy. It's been a great resource for me. The latest purchase that I did on Udemy was using Flutter, and Dart to develop what are they called? Reactive applications? I don't know, like where you can one code based and it will develop the Android app, the iOS app, as well as the web app as well. So I'm personally going through that. And at some point we will start doing I haven't really spent much time in it yet, but at some point we will be live streaming the projects for that as we learn that. So you have some prior experience being a freelance tester. I don't really know how much experience that is. One thing I wonder is, how does freelance testing work, right? Because I advise people, go look on Upwork, and I'll be sharing with my Patreon members a list of like 10 freelance websites as well, so that if you want to get some, if you want to apply for some freelance to gain some experience, that would be like you have plenty of resources to look for these opportunities. But I wonder how freelance works, right? Because in a company, you're on a Scrum team, and you're contributing to the new development as well as fixing bugs and stuff like that, reporting issues, testing, writing test plans, collaborating with developers, participating in all the sprint ceremonies and everything like that, right? But as a freelance tester, I don't think you really do any of that, right? Maybe as a contractor you might, but as a freelance tester, you probably don't. And that kind of hinders you getting experience. What I would recommend is, even if you are not working on a team, I would say organize your life as if you just work in the agile methodology, right? Have daily stand-ups with yourself, right? Set sprints. Say, I'm going to, for the next 2 weeks, this is what I plan to accomplish, and then at the end of that, do a review of of how the sprint went, as well as do your retrospective to see, like, okay, to get some feedback, like, from yourself on how it went, and then do a planning for the next sprint, and then start your next sprint. Just like, I can't break the whole thing down right now, but that is what you should be doing so that you could get better, and that way you build and manage your tickets through Jira so that you can get some real example. Will the ISTQB exam be enough to get an entry level job? No, it's not enough because it doesn't teach you anything, right? Is it helpful? Probably not, but is it good to have? It depends on the industry that you're looking to go in. Like I said earlier, if you're looking to go into the government sector or some company that contracts, or like look up the job descriptions of what you're applying for. I think maybe like out of 1,000 jobs I've looked at, maybe 2 or 3 of them mentioned ISTQB, and it didn't even say it was required. It would say it's a nice to have. So honestly, jobs don't really care about it as much as people market it. But passing exams and stuff makes people feel good. They put so much value on passing an exam over learning how to do the actual job and stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons that certifications and stuff like that don't mean too much to me. I might decide to get a certification this year, not in ISTQB, but in other stuff that might be more useful. But I didn't think about getting this certification until I noticed how good I was getting with what I was doing, and I'm like, oh, I might be able to get certified in this. But certified or not, I can still do the work, right? And that's why I say like being able to pass a test, nobody cares, right? How many times we see people go pass a test and then they have the highest GPAs and stuff like that, and like useless degrees, and then they go out into the real world and they cannot find a job to save their life, right? Literally to save their life, they can't find a job. So that's the bare bone honest truth. Is it enough to get an entry level job? Absolutely not, because most companies don't give a flying hoot about the ISTQB exam, and if they do want it, they're going to have a bunch of the other requirements to make sure you actually know what you're talking about. Because like I said, anybody can pass a test, but not anybody can do the job. All right. So with that being said, all right. Let's move on to our next one. So this one says,
Another one.
is there a Java course for just test automation? So let's read this. One says, I'm 40, I don't know coding and have to start everything from scratch. All right. Is there a tutorial and or resource that teaches only test automation related topics of Java? Or is there a list of which Java topics I should learn? I heard that I don't need to learn everything about Java. My goal is to become an SDET if possible. Actually, I need a complete roadmap about test automation, but first I think I should start learning the test automation part of Java as soon as possible. All right. So put our timer up. I'm on it tonight, good guy. I am on it. All right. Because good guy be watching me like a hawk.
Good guy.
All right. So, let's say, so here's the thing. There is job. I'm going to rephrase it a little, right? There's not Java courses for test automation alone. There's test automation courses that you can get for Java, right? And when I clip this video up, I'll put a link to the Udemy course in the description for it when I get there, and that way you can have that resource, whoever needs it. But there are test automation courses that use Java, and they'll teach you the very basics of Java enough that you'll be able to write automation code, right? So like how to, installing the JDK, getting getting your environment set up, getting an IDE. They talks about the different what do you call that? Like strings, integers, booleans, so those things, right? And it teaches you that. It talks about loops. It talks about if statements. Probably like it talks about classes and instantiation and things like that, right? Creating an instance of something. So it teaches you the basics of Java that you need to do automation, but it focuses more on automation. And I think that is the type of course that you are referring to. You can definitely find that on Udemy. If you don't know coding whatsoever, I do think that Java is probably the tougher one to get into, but it's probably also the one that is most in demand. So it's a tough choice, right? Because if you're jumping into learning coding and you're going straight into Java, it's a bit tough, right? But I still think that Java is the one that most companies will be looking for when it comes to automation. You can do it in Python. There's Cypress for a different tool, but they have WebDriver, and this person didn't even mention specifically of doing Selenium, but there's WebDriver in like in Python and in JavaScript. So it just depends on which one that you would want to use. But I still think Java is probably the most popular one, although it has the steepest learning curve, right? Needing a complete roadmap about test automation. I don't know if this person is already in QA, but if not, they would definitely need to get a better understanding of comprehensive QA testing, right? And then in the course where you get about test automation, that's also going to use Java. That would be the complete roadmap where it should be talking about API testing, probably with rest assured. It should be talking about using Selenium WebDriver, setting all that up. Maybe the Selenium grid. I don't know. Maybe some components of automated database testing. I don't know. It just depends, right? But I think trying to focus on Java first, or prioritizing Java is kind of like the wrong approach. I would say it's probably better to focus on the test automation course, which will teach you the parts of Java that is necessary, but not like just a particular Java course that is about test automation. It's more a test automation course that teaches you some Java that you need to actually get your job done. And that would also give you the complete roadmap about test automation, So I just, so that would be my advice on that one. No, what happened to my clock? It didn't start. Well, it is what it is. Thought I started the clock on that one, but we will wrap that one up. So, hopefully that helped. All right. All right. So we are at our halfway point through our questions. So if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video, leave me a comment, interact with me in the chat. Click on the link that's pinned to the top of the chat or in the description so you can call in if you have a question. All right. So let's get into our next one.
Another one.
All right. So this one says, do you think that AI is going to kill us, or no, and more complex AI means more testing for us, such as configuration testing or something? All right. So I think that AI, let's make sure the 5 minutes is up on the clock. All right, there you go. I think that AI is going to kill some of us. Right. All right. I'm joking. Right. It's not going to kill us. It's going to it's going to phase out. It's going to continue to phase out some jobs, right? Um, so I thought about this the other day, right? Why are people so afraid of new technology, right? Like people are afraid of AI. People are afraid of electric vehicles. People are afraid of the first of automobiles because they were so used to riding a horse and buggy and stuff like that, right? Every bit of innovation that comes out, people are so afraid of it, so afraid of it. I mean, a lot of people use them for wrong. Don't get me like they don't use them for the right reasons. So don't get me wrong, but they're just tools at the end of the day. And my use of AI, it helps me go so much faster. It's so helpful. Like I'm able to do so much more, and I don't have to hire anyone to do it. Like I just would have went slower because I was never planning on like I was like AI does the stuff that AI does the stuff that for me at least that I just wouldn't do it or I would have like or I would have never hired somebody to do it, right? So either it's just not gonna happen or I would do it a lot slower, right? So that's why like I don't see AI it's not killing anybody. It might kill some of your jobs because and I see what Don said in the chat and I'm like I have a comment about that I'm going to get to. But more complex AI testing means more testing for not for us, but it's for some of us, right? It's for those who continue to learn and to expand because like that person earlier who they said like they're just so stuck on being a manual tester and stuff like that that they that now like AI might phase them out, you know? But what are we doing in on the morning show, right? We are going through the Chaos Camp Challenge. Shout out to Don in the chat on how to test OpenAI's API, the strategy that we would use to test OpenAI's API, and we're doing it through Behave, right? Like we're using Behave as our testing framework in Python. So we are pushing ourselves forward. You know, we are going for burnout every single time, laying it all on the line, right? And that's why I'm not afraid of AI because I embrace technology and I say I want to be the first one to get my hands on it so that I can set the standard. I can be a pioneer in the field, right? So my good friend Don, he says fear of the unknown, and so I was thinking about this the other day when I came across this question, right? I was thinking about people know what how do I want to say it, right? People always get afraid of their job getting replaced by a robot because they don't want to do more, right? So they just sit around and they want to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. But things that are like done, like what we've been doing our entire career, things that can be done over and over and over and over again. We write a tool, we write a robot to do it over and over and over and over for us while we go out there and we innovate and find new things to do, right? And push forward. But people always get worried when they see that, oh, the work that I'm doing, it's so easy that a robot could do it, right? And then they get upset and they start to panic and they want to unionize and all this type of stuff because AIs can take care of it, robots can take care of it. Like when you go to the store and they have the self-checkout, I absolutely love the self-checkout because like I said before, I'd be going to Walmart and before like you'd go to Walmart around like 10, 11 o'clock at night and the line was out the door, right? And you'd be like, for one little thing, you're like, okay, I'm just not going to get it. Or like you're shopping and then, you know, there's somebody in front of you who has like 3 carts of nonsense and then they get to the front and they want to argue with the cashier and everything, or you get to the cashier and they're rude and And I'm like, guess what? Guess who has never ever been rude to me when I've been shopping, right? The price scanner tool. I love that tool as well because I don't have to go ask somebody for a price. The price scanner tool has been absolutely amazing to me. Very nice. One of my best friends. And the self checkout is another one of my best friends because I like it doesn't give me any attitude. I don't like, and it just there's like 10 of those, right? There's like 2 cashiers and there's like 10 of those, and I can just and the line just cycles and cycles and cycles and cycle, right? And it makes it better for us, and it probably makes prices cheaper for us as well, you know. So people is like, yes, there's fear of the unknown, but they also know that the things that they do, it's easily replaceable, and that really and that's why they fight so hard because they don't like it because they don't want to learn more, they don't want to do more, they don't want to go anywhere, and they start to panic when they see that a robot can easily do their job, right? So that is that. And Don says, for most people, I make unknown known and move on. Exactly. So that is my thought on is AI going to kill us or is it going to make more complex? I love using AI. Like as soon as and just a reminder, like you can go check out the live stream about the Amazon Q chatbot for businesses. As soon as it was announced, I want to try to sample it out. I do plan to go on revisiting it. We had some issues because we don't have like an enterprise account to do it on, but I do still plan to go back and configure that. But every time every time I see new tools and stuff, I'm like, oh, let me go try it out. Like working with Don, we like I've learned a lot more about AI and stuff like that. Like through the APIs and stuff, and just doing the Chaos Camp challenge, like I said, right? So awesome. Okay, so that's my thought on it on AI and stuff. And Don said, it scares Java developers who still use Eclipse. Yeah, you know, Don, watching I was watching a video today about Uncle Bob Robert C. Martin. He was doing a demonstration of how he would do TDD, and he was using Eclipse, and I was like, he's a contributor to Eclipse, right? I think to what is that? I forgot the name of the tool or plugin for Eclipse that he works on, but oh my god, can't remember. But I just saw Eclipse and I was like, what? But yeah, he's an Eclipse person because not only because he's old, like he's been around forever, but he's a contributor to it as well, you know. And Don says 2 week sprints will turn into 2 days to 2 hours. If it can help the ceremonies go by, like, you know, when we go into like sprint planning and stuff, if it can help that go by faster, then I am all for it. All right. So, and Don says, of course he gets a pass. He definitely gets a pass. Like, I was talking to Calculus Coder. He left me a comment on and go check out his channel. He has some cool information there. But he left me a comment on my videos about database testing, or not database testing, but about databases, like which tool to use. And he was asking about like testing and stuff. And so he reached out to me, and I sent him some Uncle Bob videos about like explaining what TDD is, and the one I was just telling you about the demonstration, as well as the book, a link to the book for the clean code and the clean coder, and a website to like practice TDD. So yeah, you know, so and that's one of the ways that we collaborate with each other. We help each other out. I'm just happy to be able to work with all these amazing people that I'm meeting. All right. Anyways, that is enough of that. Like they said in Don't Be a Menace, enough of that sentimental stuff. All right, let's move on to our next question. Where are we at? Okay, so this one's gonna be a good one. All right, let's go.
Another one.
So this one says, advice request. 3 juniors, no senior, need some direction. All right. We are a team of 3 junior testers. This is our first job. We all started around the same time. About a month after we started, our only senior left unexpectedly. Management says they're trying to find a replacement, but who knows how long that could take. Could be another year for all we know. None of us have any proper experience, and there are practically 0 processes in place. I see this as a potential opportunity to step up and lead a bit. The problem is I have absolutely no idea where to start. None of us do. At the moment, our day-to-day consists only of exploratory testing Jira tickets after developers have devved them, and we pull them into our testing column on the sprint board. We manually test them, check they meet the acceptance criteria, etc., then move them to done. There is absolutely no documentation anywhere. The only documenting we do is on the Jira ticket itself, where we write a comment saying expected results versus actual results, if passed or failed, more details if failed, screenshots, etc. We kick them back to to-do column if failed. I am really not sure where to go from here or how we can improve testing at the company. I'm hoping to look at implementing some automation testing with Playwright soon, but that's about it. It feels like we could be doing so much more. If anyone could advise or point me in the direction of some resources, tools, anything, I would massively appreciate it. All right. So let's get our timer up. And here's the thing with that, right? Does it help to have a senior at the company that you're working at? Absolutely. But if you do not have that senior, then I think that you are in the perfect and prime opportunity to become that senior. However, like you said, and it's a very fair statement because you all started together, and it's something that's a bit of a mess right now in your QA department, right? But here's the thing. And this is part of the problem that I have with many people, right? They just want it to be given to them. They don't want to work for it, right? So you don't have somebody in the company to mentor you, to learn from, etc., right? However, there are tons of people online that you can reach out to who can mentor you and coach you. And being that you're in such a prime position to step up and to be the leader, you can get an experienced QA engineer to give you like ideas, to give you structure, to give you strategy from their experience on, all right, what tools should you be using? How should you be documenting your tests? How can you advocate for the softwares that you need to properly manage your tests? Or, so many different options that you can do, but you need to take initiative and you need to reach out to somebody, right? Somebody with experience that could help you, right? And guide you. It's not going to a boot camp because they're just going to like cycle you in, cycle you out. You need to find somebody who's actually in the field and who can guide you into the process, right? Because guess what? Like if you were to come to me, right, I could definitely help you with everything that you said, right? Because I've been through it all, and you don't need to have somebody in the company to do it for you, because like just reading this, I'm like, okay, you can do this, you could do that, you could do that, but it would take way too long for me to like pretty much to explain a blueprint on how to turn your company and your QA department successful. You have no idea what to do. The best thing I could suggest is getting a mentor, getting a coach, and you can tell them like what is the specific things that you're facing, how it's done, and they can say, okay, you can use this strategy, you can use that strategy. This is what you need to learn. This is what you need. This is the type of conversation you need to have with upper management. This is the type of conversation that you need to have with the developers. These are the processes that you need to put in place. You need to like have the team learn automation. The way that you're doing it is unsustainable. Like for doing exploratory testing on Jira tickets, and then after you only manually test them and they meet the acceptance criteria, when it's done, how about regression tests, right? What if the change that the developer makes in one spot breaks another spot? Do the developers have unit tests, right? You know, like without regression tests, if you don't know about the unit tests, how do you know if things are going to work or not, right? So so getting a coach, an experienced coach in the field, or a mentor or something, right? They can give you these strategies. They like, okay, how to properly write documentation. Where should you store it? Is like not even is leaving comments in Jira system acceptable? The answer is no, of course. But how to properly write documentation, where to store it, everything like that. And when a story fails, just moving them back into the to do column, that doesn't help, right? You should be creating a sub defect on that story, so and leave the main story in in progress or in testing or whatever that column is, and then you create a sub defect and you move that to do or wherever column you want it to be, so the developers can work on that sub defect and not everything, and you can also track it, and it's not like the whole story being moved back, right? So there are so many ways that you can improve testing at the company, but it's like it would be a whole book to explain it on a live stream or in a comment or something like that. Like because you can look at some courses and stuff like that, but it doesn't give you the full picture. You need to have someone who you can work one-on-one with. Like, be the same way you have at work when you have a manager and stuff like that. You have one-on-ones with your manager. You need to have one-on-ones with a coach or a mentor who can understand what phase of QA, like the different things that you're going through, and properly advise you on how to handle it. And then that way you can become a leader at your company, and you can grow and skyrocket from there. Okay. So with that being said, and speaking about coaching and mentorship, go ahead and check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev so you can see the different offers that we have and how you can level up your testing skills and your career. We need to like a career. A lot of times we think a career is just like the job that we go to, but we need to build our career. We need to put in extra time every single week, right? I like to go for I like to say 15 to 20 hours a week that you put in on your own time so that you can level up your skills. If you want to grow, you have to practice. You have to exercise the muscle. You break it down to build it back up. Like Don said yesterday in a comment for the Burnout video, right? Break the muscle down so it can rebuild. So if you want to grow, you got to put in the work. Okay. So with that, let me get a sip of water before we go on to our next one. Alrighty then. So let's jump into our last two for the night.
Another one.
Put under a performance improvement plan program and going through a tough time. Need advice and words of encouragement. I have been working in software testing for 4 years in my current organization based out of India. After having a fairly successful stint in the manual QA team here, 7 months back, I shifted from manual QA to ETL testing. ETL stands for extract, transform, and load testing. Took an IJP, but there were no formal trainings given. no roadmaps for a new joinee. I couldn't perform as per their expectations in this new team, and I wanted them to shift me back to my older team where I was performing. Instead, I have been put under a PIP, performance improvement plan, which essentially means that I have close to 45 days to find a new job before they throw me out of this organization. Being put under a putting an underperformer in PIP is understandable, but I'm feeling dejected that I wasn't given a chance to move back to my old team. It seems unfair. Now I want to get a new job as soon as possible. I have started actively applying for jobs, senior QA test engineer, manual testing. I never heard of that one. Total experience 9 years, of which 4 years in this current organization. Need some words of encouragement and some advice on how I can crack QA interviews as soon as possible. All right. So let's start our clock on that one. So my first word of encouragement is nobody owes you anything. You're feeling dejected because you weren't given a chance to move back to your old team. If you left the team, right, to move on to greener pastures, bigger and better things, right, it's possible that your role was either no longer needed or it was filled by somebody else. Now, if you, because you failed, because you didn't properly plan, right, if you were to say, oh, I want to go back to my old team, what happens to the person who either took your role or to or if they don't need it, are they just supposed to create it? Because at the end of the day, everything is business. So it feeling unfair, there's nothing unfair about it. That's just whining and complaining at that point to me, and I feel nothing. You know, and here's the problem, right? So, no formal training for ETL testing. Well, get this. About 2 years ago now? Yeah, like 2 years ago now, I was asked to, was it 2 years? No, it's like, what year are we in? We're in 2024, 2023. Yeah, 2 years ago, right? Our data and analytics team was, they were replaced and with a contracting company, right? But there were still some ETL processes that they needed someone in-house to maintain. So they asked me to maintain it, and I didn't really want to do it, but I was like, all right, I'll do it anyways, right? And what did I do? When I needed to learn ETL testing, what did I do? I went online and I found a course for ETL, and I followed that course, and I was able to do the job just fine, right? And I learned a lot doing ETL, you know? So if you were expecting to have formal training on ETL testing or given a roadmap and stuff like that, and you weren't, well, you should have did what you had to do to get it elsewhere, and that way you wouldn't have to be placed under a PIP, right? I've never depended on my company to teach me anything, right? If I could leverage, if they had courses that I could leverage, great. But did I ever see it as a requirement or like to even pay for a course or anything for me? Like it's never been something that was at the forefront of my thought, right? I'm like, I need to learn something, and I'm going to do whatever I have to whatever I have to do to learn it. You know, so you being placed on a PIP, it's on you for not doing the necessary actions to learn how to properly do ETL testing. You left a job that you could have stayed in, right, as a manual QA, and then you went to something that you weren't prepared for. You didn't know what you were getting into, and now it bit you in the butt. You know, and usually, like with a PIP, it is like on the way out. But I've seen people who have improved on a performance improvement plan, right? But if you think that it's over for you, then it is what it is, right? But was it fair to your team when you left them for the ETL? But it's unfair that they don't give you the chance to go back. So, like I said, no one owes you anything. There's nothing. The only thing that's fair is the place that has the Ferris wheel, right? And all the rides and the scamming games and stuff like that. All right. I have never heard of a senior QA test engineer manual testing position. Maybe that's something in India. I don't know. But in your 9 years in testing, why didn't you learn automation testing? Like that's the obvious progression, you know. Like I met somebody on this interview one time who was talking about how important they see manual testing because they've been doing it for like 30 years and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you gotta have forward progress. You gotta be able to keep up with everything that's happening. So I don't know that like you gotta do better. So yeah, that's my words of encouragement. My words of encouragement are: nobody owes you anything. You need to go out there and learn the necessary tools, like because you didn't do your job, right? Your job was to learn, whether it's from the company or on your own, but learn how to do your job, right? Learn what you're getting into before getting into it. See if that's what you really want to do, and are you going to put in the work to actually know how to do a good job? All right. So that is that one. Let's wrap that one up. All right. We are at our very last question for the night. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Leave me a comment or drop me a line in the chat. I would love to hear from you. And you can still call in as well. After this last question, we are going to be wrapping up the show. And we will be going live tomorrow morning as well for our Coffee and Kata, where we'll continue to work through our Chaos Camp Challenge for the OpenAI API testing. Well, now that Don is here, Don, if you're still in the chat, I meant to ask you this earlier, right? Where would you get the predefined answer set for the prompts, right? Because like for instance, on my test, I said, what is the top selling EV vehicle, right? And for the expected answer, I put Tesla, but I was like, where do I find the predefined answer set for this testing challenge? Do you have that anywhere that we can use? Like what questions we should be using or where to find the answer set? That would be very, very helpful. I meant to ask you that, but I didn't have a chance. So that'd be very, very helpful if you can provide some insight on that, and we can go from there. All right. Okay, so let's get into this very, very last question. But before I do that, let me get one more sip of water. And if you're available to come, and Don, if you're available to come up and talk about it, you can click on the link in the description or in the chat, pinned to the top of the chat, so that we can talk about that, because like that'd be a good information to have, so we can continue with the testing challenge. I mean, I can still continue with it, but I was wondering where I can find that answer set. So if you're available to answer that or come up in the come and discuss it with me and give me some insight on that, that'll be very, very helpful if you're still here. All right. So let's get into our last question.
Another one.
This one says, I chose a wrong career and I have zero confidence now. I'm a 20-year-old female and I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. But due to my low marks in math, my mother advised me to take on geology. That's interesting. I did it accordingly, and within a month, I realized geology being a vast career field, I don't like it at all, and my rude peers making it difficult to sustain here. During my teenage years, I virtually met many aerospace engineers. Where do you live? People working and studying in various universities. I had attended conferences and stuff. I used to be a very confident person, organizing and participating in debates, quizzes, etc. I once presented a presentation in front of my high school classmates, teachers, and guests in National Space Day, all by myself. All by myself. I will not sing. But now I ran away from everything, have low confidence, depressed all the time, not wanting to meet my old friends. My mom unfortunately laughs at me, sometimes saying that doesn't matter how much I cry, beg, or become mentally ill. She will never, I repeat, she will never pay for my tuition fees if I go for engineering. Sounds so backwards to me. I don't know. She's a very rich and successful lady and a very understanding person. Really? She thinks my low math skills will impact my academics if I go for aerospace engineering. She also says I will gain back my confidence if I don't overreact about losing my childhood dream career. Careers don't bring happiness. I'm just misunderstanding it. About my father, my dad, about my dad, he's dad and has saved enough money for me to study till I get my PhD. Mom is not willing to spend it. She is afraid that me pursuing something like aerospace engineering or engineering in general would be a financial loss. She also wants to save it for her future and my marriage. Well, shout out to you potentially getting married one day, right? So this one was so interesting. I had to highlight a few points in there, right? So let's put up our clock for the last one. And the first thing that I noticed was the mom advised to take geology. Am I missing something here? Are there jobs for geology? Now I'm curious. Because maybe I'm in the wrong places, right? But I didn't know that. I don't know about geology. Geology. Let's see what is a geology salary. So a geologist can make between, according to Indeed, 43K to 120K. In Florida, a geologist level 1 is 45K to 65K. And according to pay scale, it can be 47K to 94K. I guess the other question is, what's the demand for geologists though? Like, you can have like 5 geologists making a certain amount of money, but then there's no other jobs available for it. So I don't know. That advice sounds so weird to me that they would advise going into geology, right? But here is the thing that I want to stress on this question, right? Because of your low marks in math, you went to study something else that you were not interested in just because your mom told you. But why didn't you just study math harder, study math more so you can increase to get better grades, right? that's what, like, going back to the David Goggins interview at the beginning of the show, when I responded to this person's question, right? I told them, like, there's so many things that, like, I could talk about based on everything you've laid out in here. But I said, honestly, my best advice to you is to go listen to the Andrew Huberman and David Goggins interview, right? That is going to change your life, to be honest with you. But you should have been studying math more, because I remember this, right? When I was in high school, I went to a dual enrollment high school, right? So we had 3 high school classes and 3 college classes for the semester, right? And I was taking college algebra, and after our first test, I got it was bad. I think it was like a 38 or something, right? But I didn't apply myself because I'm like, oh, I know math, I know algebra and everything like that. But I just didn't apply myself. So after I got that score, I did every single math problem homework in the book, right? Because they would give you the answer for either the odds or the evens, but I did every single. I did the odds and the evens, and I would just do all of them because I would understand the concept, but because I wouldn't practice, right? We always go back to practice. Because I wouldn't practice, I did terrible, on my first test. But I tell you this, every single test afterwards, it was like a 98, a 94. And I got an A in the class, even after getting a 38 on my first test. I think they might have dropped the lowest score, but I got I got an A in the class. But I would work until I would fall asleep, right? So that burnout that I was telling you about, I had it when things went, like when I was unhappy, because I didn't get the grade that I wanted to get, or not that I wanted to get, because I didn't even work for it, right? I just thought I could just go in there and do something and then and get a good grade, and that wasn't the case. I had to put in the work, and I would be up till like midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, doing math problems, doing college algebra problems, right? Until I fall asleep. And then when I do fall asleep, I'm dreaming about the math problems that I did, and I'm visualizing what I did, the steps that I followed and stuff like that. And then I would wake up in the morning and I have it all in my head. And then I go take the test, and I would ace the test, right? And I just used that strategy for like the whole semester, doing every single problem every single day, till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then and then I would go to sleep, wake up, and do it over again every single day, the same exact thing over and over again, right? And in between then and now, or not now, but between then and 10 years ago, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but now, and that's why I'm so focused, and I'm like, every single day we're doing the same thing, working the same way, the same consistency, and like today I was tired, from going to sleep late, but I'm like, I'm going to find a way to take a little nap here and there so that we can get back to it and we can continue to win, we can continue to level up, So, and to continue with this, right? And let me get the timer off, because we're gonna finish off with this one. But I used to be a very confident person, right? And here's the thing, like, I hate the term used to be, right? Because that's the past. It honestly doesn't matter anymore. What about today? What about now? Where did your confidence go now? You should, because you're not working as hard as you should be working for what you want. That's why you can say how you used to be instead of what you are today. No one cares about the past. You have to focus on today, and you need to build that work ethic. You need to study, like you need to study until you get it, right? Find a way, find a strategy so that, like, if you don't want to do geology and if you want to do aerospace engineering, if there's, like, I'll definitely say research aerospace engineering jobs before you commit to it, but engineering in general, right? And your mom laughs at you. So the other part I want to talk about, right? Your mom laughs at you sometimes, and she doesn't care about how much you cry, beg, or become mentally ill. My thing on that is, you can't let. I mean, you're young, understandable, but if you have goals, not dreams, but goals, you shouldn't let anybody stand in your way of getting to it, right? So do what you have to do. Do what you have to do. And I still don't understand the affinity towards geology, but find some, if definitely do your research on aerospace engineering to see if that's the right field. But engineering as a whole, like whether you go into software engineering or cybersecurity or whatever it is that you go into engineering, I don't see how that's a financial loss compared to geology. As we saw, like the pay for geology is not the greatest. I'm not sure how you could leverage that in other terms as well. The way that you could do it, like front end development, back end development, QA, cybersecurity, all of that good stuff. So that is my thoughts on this. I'm gonna end it off with saying the best advice I could give for anyone who finds himself in that situation, go listen to the Andrew Huberman and David Goggins podcast interview. And listen to it, like I said, listen to it over and over and over again. That did remarkable things for me, and I guarantee you, it will change your life. All right. So those are our questions for tonight. And we are going to be wrapping it up. So thank you for everyone who tuned in, whether you're watching it live or on replay. I really, really appreciate you. You guys are awesome. We are going to be going live again tomorrow morning for our Coffee and Kata show. We're going to be continuing with the OpenAI API testing challenge from our good friend Don at Chaos Camp. And and then Thursday night we're going to be live again. We're going to be implementing Selenium, Playwright, and Cypress in TypeScript. So tune in for that. It's already scheduled, so make sure you hit the notification bell for that and tune in. And if you can, follow along with me. Let's do it together, right? So that we can continue to level up our technical skills. Okay. So, we're gonna wrap it up. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video, leave me a comment. Thank you for tuning in. We are wrapping it up. Definitely check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can level up your technical and your career skills. All right. So with that being said, I have one last question for you.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I am always entertained when I get to hang out with you guys. It is a pleasure. All right. But on that note, thank you for tuning in to the January 9th, 2024 episode of Q&A, our second episode of the year. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. We are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
the north. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. Let's believe our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla, for today we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.